Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video I'm going to be doing the DNF tag, which I got from Megan on Megan's Reading Revelations. Thought this one seemed an interesting one to do and talk about, and so here we are. So I assume most people know DNF means did not finish. It basically just means when you decide you're not going to finish a book. I will have Megan's video linked down below, and I'll also have the questions listed there as well. But with that, let's get into it. So question number one is, do you DNF? So this is something that really changed for me. I used to never DNF a book. It just annoyed me, and so I would make myself keep reading until I actually finished it. And that's made it so that there were things I read and I really didn't care for. I've changed this more recently just because, especially this year, I've been reading a whole lot more, and I have so many things that I want to read, so I really just don't want to waste time on a book if I know I'm not going to enjoy it. So I've amended this, and I still try not to DNF often. A book really has to be, I guess, something especially that clashes with me or that I just really, really hate for me to DNF it. Typically, normally it'd take a strong reaction on my part, or I'll just finish it, and then if I don't, like it 100%, that's fine, but I still don't do it a ton. So, question two is, if you do DNF, does it count toward your monthly or your general reading goals? And I guess for me, I typically don't, because I don't keep really strict goals, but I update my Goodreads with the books that I've read and the books that I want to read, etc. I don't think I typically mark it as read if I didn't actually finish the book, just because I guess that goes back to my completionist with books where I don't feel like I've actually fully experienced the book if I don't finish it. So typically no, I guess, but I guess that would depend. I guess if I read most of the book, I might consider it read, but it would probably depend a little on the situation. Question number three, is there a difference between DNFing a book and just putting it down for a while? And I think absolutely yes, because as I kind of talked about with the first question, if I'm DNFing a book, there is very little chance I will ever come back to it because I must have really, really not liked it. But there have definitely been books that I've just put down. For example, pretty much every book of Malazan. As I was starting to get close to halfway through, I would put down for a while because those books took me a long time to get through. And then I'd start back up, and the back half I was always hooked and really loved the series overall. It just took me a long time to get through because each book it took me a while to get into, so sometimes I would put it down. Never did I DNF them. I was always going to finish it. So books that I DNF, there's really little chance of me coming back. So question four, what are some popular books that you have DNF'd? The biggest one is the Song of Ice and Fire's series. I finally DNF'd on Feast for Crows, I think. And I knew from the very first book the series wasn't for me, but like I said, I kept reading, I kept thinking maybe I'll enjoy it more. And overall the story was very good, but it's just Martin's writing style clashes with me hard, and I just was not enjoying going through the books anymore, so I finally gave up there. A lot of the other things I haven't finished, I don't know how popular they are, I guess, so that would really be the big one. Like I said, there aren't a ton of books that I have DNF'd. I usually try to get through anyway, so that's really what comes to mind. Question five, what are some books that you wish you DNF'd? So there are definitely a couple books I wish I would have DNF'd sooner. As far as just wish I wouldn't have finished, the biggest one is the Belgariad, because they were short, so I powered through, but just got absolutely nothing out of it. I wish I would have DNF'd the Dark Sword trilogy sooner, because every book I read made it so much worse for that one. So if that counts as well. But for the most part, I don't know, most things I've read, I like I said, was able to at least get something out of. And there were sometimes books that I almost considered not finishing and then ended up enjoying more because I did. So those are the ones that come to mind for that. Question number six. Have you ever attempted to reread or restart a book that you previously had DNF'd? And with this, I don't know that I have. Like I said, it's usually really unlikely. The only thing I can think of is I actually originally finally DNF'd The Color of Magic, the first Discworld novel. And I always told myself I was going to come back to it, and I never technically did. I read a bunch of the other books after it in sequential order, and the way it ends and the way the Light Fantastic starts, I know what the ending is, so I think that's why I didn't go back and read it. but that one just was not a good starting point for me for Discworld, and I really enjoyed a lot of Discworld, so that would be probably the closest. I put down reading Discworld for a while because I didn't really like the color of magic that much, and then I continued in the series in a big way later. So I guess if that counts, I'll go with that. That's what I'll pick there. So 7, what do you do with books that you DNF? And I usually get rid of them. I'll sell books to my used bookstore, get a ton for it, but it's that way maybe somebody else will like it and enjoy it and, get me credit so I can get more books, because I have a problem, but I definitely don't keep them. It's one of those things. I do collect a lot of books, and if I enjoy a book, I typically keep it. That's why I also really don't like using the library that often. I probably should, but I really like to own the books that I read and enjoy, and so I typically will just get rid of ones that I don't. And then number 8, do you choose less risky titles based on your DNF policy? And not really, no. It's one of those things. I'm gonna probably finish most things that I read, but I also really enjoy going into books blind for the most part. I don't like to know a ton about them because I don't really want to have expectations. I just want to go and experience whatever the author wants me to experience. So I still, I try to get things only if I think I'm gonna like them. If I look at a book or read the description and I'm like, that doesn't sound like me, I'm not gonna get that book just because I don't want to purposely read things I'm not going to enjoy. But I do try different things a lot and get a lot of random books from my used bookstore that I don't really know anything about, and some of them have ended up not being all that great. Some of them have been really good. So it's kind of one of those things that I just try to find things that seem interesting or eye-catching for me and go from there. So with that, that is my DNF tag video. If you are watching this, I tag you to do it. Would love to see your responses on any of these questions in general. And then let me know if you do have any comments on what I've said in this video down below. If you did enjoy this video, then feel free to give it a like. And if you want to see more of my content, then feel free to subscribe.